Okay. Back with Lost Odyssey. I'm gonna fight some optional bosses today. Sorry about that. I had to check something in the other room. Make sure the door's locked and no one's gonna come walking in, interrupting me. Okay. Optional bosses are what is on menu. We're going to start out by fighting the Holy Beast. It is a beast type and water element, so anything that does ground damage and beast damage will be what we want to use. Primarily the rings on Kaim and Seth. I will probably replace Sed with Jansen for this fight. It can also put us to sleep. So we'll probably want to have anti-sleep on. And I think it can do ground, water, and wind damage to all the party members. So what that means is we will have... We had... what's up, Bryce and Drake Chandler, who's now typing? So we had an accessory called the Quad Element something or other. Where'd it go? There it is. Reduces fire, water, wind, and earth damage. Elements resistance up. We will want to equip that on our guys. So let's form the final party here, which is going to include Jansen. Like that. And we will put on him that quad element thing. Either that or the sleep. Oh, he can do two. Never mind. So we'll do both. We'll put on the quad element, which I must have passed. Fetch. Where are you? Wasn't it down here? Too many freaking things. What's up, Rob? Good to see you. How have you been? Drake says, hey Mike and everyone else, I've been in Iraq for a few weeks now. Just wanted to say hi before I go to bed soon. You're in Iraq? Dude, holy crap. Holy fetch, I didn't know that. Is everything good? Does it have it on right now? Hopefully everything's good for you, man. It's a piece of royal equipment. Right. But shouldn't it be in this list? Because everyone has earned that. Oh, he can't wear it because he's... Okay, that's why. Alright. So in that case, we just need to give him an anti-sleep thing. Which would be... anti-sleep. And maybe we'll give him something to absorb magic just in general. Or maybe just a water one. Let's try that. And then for the skills, we want to set, instead of casting support, we'll want anti-sleep. And instead of... I gotta go get more slot seats for these people, but I think instead of double SP, since I've already learned everything I want to learn, we can now go with elements resistance up. So that should work out. Do the same for her. Drake says, everything's good. I'll be home in November. It can't come quick enough. November? Dude, that's so long. Do deployments usually go for that long? Holy crap. Dude, I feel for you. That's crazy. Deployments like 9 to 10 months are pretty common. Holy fetch, dude. I'm so sorry. That is crazy. Man, that's really tough. Man, good luck with everything there, man, and keep in touch. Seriously, anytime that you can kind of chime in, let us know how you're doing. She not learned it yet? He must not have learned it yet. Oh, I wonder if she has... She doesn't have the royal equipment thing on here, that's why. We gotta put that somewhere. Feels good to hear you say that. I leave comments on YouTube sometimes still. Love the podcast as usual. Bro, seriously, keep in touch. I'm not sure what kind of, like, structure they have. I've never been in the military. My brother was in the National Guard. And so I don't know what kind of, like, structure they have for dealing with stress or any kind of support system they have. I would hope that they have something for you guys to, like, help you deal with all that. But keep in touch. Things are getting crazy out there, and you need someone to, like, vent to, talk to, whatever. And Bryce, yes, the HP and MP skills do stack. Okay. I'm gonna put the royal equipment here, because I need that. Where is it? The lists are so freaking crazy. Okay. Royal equipment. And then, instead of absorb attack, we'll do... She didn't learn it. I thought I had learned everything. I was wrong. I did not have this equipped, so it never popped up for her to use. I bet that's probably true for me as well. Which sucks. I didn't realize that. She doesn't have as many. Okay, well, we'll at least do sleep. And it's not going to pop up here, but do water resistance up or something. And we can also equip the other ones, right? So we can get... So she has that, but we could also put on the earth resistance and the wind resistance on her. That should work. Oh, and then I don't think I did at the royal equipment, but I didn't do anti-sleep, which needs to go here probably. Okay, I think I'm set up for this fight. There are methods and places we go for downtime on bases, even over here. It's not super high quality, but you make do and get creative with passing the time. I've been watching Scooby-Doo on Netflix and reading Power Ranger comics when I got time. They probably don't let you have like video games like a PSP or something, or PSP is so old, like a freaking Nintendo Switch or something, right? Dang, dude, I feel for you. Hang in there. Seriously. We got Miss Venus. Hey all, first time catching the live stream. Just wondering how it works. Do we watch over at YouTube and comment here? Yes. So, the way that I used to do it is I used to make the streams private, and I would have all of the email addresses from the $10 patrons, and I would invite only those email addresses to watch. The problem is that not a vast majority, but a lot of people on Patreon used an email address that is not their YouTube email address, right? So you have a Gmail that's associated with your YouTube channel when you're signed in to YouTube. And because they used a different email address from that, when they would go to YouTube, they couldn't watch it. So I've made all of the streams unlisted now, which means that anyone who has a link can watch it. So in order to avoid, I'm not saying that this is likely to happen, but it's possible that somebody who is not a $10 patron could get a link and watch the stream, right? And so I've made this channel on Patreon exclusive to the $10 patrons, so I can chat with you here exclusively, even if somebody leaks into the live stream who's not, technically supposed to be watching it or whatever. This way it just keeps the exclusivity for the $10 patrons in terms of chatting with me while I do this. Does that make sense? I hope I explained that well enough. Okay, we're gonna go fight this boss. I'm gonna start recording. I'm gonna come over here.
Out of my way!
That's true. Getting a Vita or a PSP. Simulation.
Live to fight another day!
If you can get it to fit in your barracks, some do. I consider it too much work to get it here, though. I think I'll just put some emulators on my laptop if I ever feel like it. Good Wi-Fi is rare, though. Yeah, internet. But emulation is a good option, too. Yes. Technically, if you create your own ISOs and ROMs from your own disks and cartridges, it's completely legal. And emulators as a whole are completely legal. Okay, here we go. Bully Beast time. What's up, dude McGuy? How are you? Good to see you. Yes, this is the party I want.
Ooh, I think I'm gonna like this.
Alright, so I think I already have found things. And yes, that is precisely why I can't do that. If I have something that does earth damage and beast damage, that would also be really good. It's fire. This planet. The beast killer one. If there's one that I have that's earth and beast killer, that would be great. I don't think I have one like that, so I might just stay with one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure what I have is probably this, which is earth, level 3, and damage. So that's good. Stick with that. I'm going to see what he does just by a normal attack, and then this one's earth level 3. And then I'll see what the combo ability does, because I think the combo ability ignores the ring damage. But what we do need to do here is power us. Who's in the front row? Probably shouldn't have put. Oh yeah, let's give him. We have a choice to make here. I can either give him spirit magic, or I can give him light magic, so that he can cast. These all shield and all barricade. I'm gonna go with all barricade first. Though he's really slow at casting, maybe I should have had her. I think she's the fastest caster. There we go. Let her do it. Her powerless. And then I'll equip him with So I think that might be just as slow. I think any of the level 3 magic, or whatever it is. We don't know how this is. Maybe I can also do like faster. This one. Let's see how it's going. So that was like 3,300 damage. But that's without being powered up. Now that he's powered up, we'll probably go fine. In the meantime, I'm going to try to do Oh, is the game volume on? Hold on.
Here goes!
Okay, I didn't know the game volume was on at all. Ooh, that's pretty good. Oh yeah, that wasn't bad at all. Nice. Okay, let's see what... Oh, this guy's dead, dude. It's over. It's fetching over. I need to find the third level ground and fire spells so that my guys can use them. Oh, one guy fell asleep. Yeah, it's over. That was not bad at all. Defeated the Holy Beast. We got the 1,000 Year Memories accessory. Talk to me. Wait, dang it, I don't think I paid attention to what that said. But... was it saying there was something I needed to do there? Holy crap, I'm gonna have to go onto the stream and rewind it now. I was looking at the chat when that happened. Go to the freaking... go to my own freaking stream. And rewind it to see what that Fetcher just said. I see. Oh, I see how it is. Well, not my problem. I'm just glad he's back to his old self. Okay, what did she say? The Holy Beast's words cannot be understood by normal people. He is thanking us. Is that it? Is that all there is to this? He just says thanks for freeing me, and that's the end? Sounds like he's trying to say something, and I can't make it out. The Holy Beast's words cannot be understood by normal people. He's thanking us. Oh, I see how it is. Well, not my problem. I'm just glad he's back to his old self. Yes. That's literally it. There's no scene with... what the fetch? Okay, that was freaking whack. Very, anticlimactic little side quest there. Well, next optional boss we can fight is Persona. Back at the, mansion. You can see where the money ran out. Premium side content, says Drake. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Let's go get the next guy. I'll probably stop recording there. I don't need to fight you, so bye. We're gonna go now to the mansion, which was right there. Do all the mages not have double cast? I don't know if that's something they can learn. Because I'm pretty sure they've learned everything they can. And why don't you use accessories still on your yet? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Because, for the most part, maybe I could actually stack HP even further that way, but I don't know. Okay, so... I don't think we can learn Skill Link Double Cast from Jansen. Oh, they do have it. Never mind. I just did not see it in the list. What would I replace for this? Maybe double item? I don't think I need that. There it is. Where'd you go? Double item. Oh wait, double item is... It's double loot that I was thinking I don't need. Double item is good. What the fetch? Where is it? Yeah, replace... I think I had double item here, right? So many items. No, it's double loot. Does she have double item? You should. Oh, wait, maybe that's one of the ones she hasn't learned yet from, it was double loot. I don't think I've learned everything. I've learned everything from everyone except from Said. No, I have learned everything from Said. What the fetch? So, she should have double item. There's just so many freaking things, it's easy to miss. So, double item. There it is. Okay, I did replace that. So, I gotta rethink all my abilities for this fight that's coming up. Accessory slots are basically extra slots where, when everything is learned. Double cast is super OP. Black or white staff could be good for me. Oh, I wanted to see if I could, if I equip another one of the HP up, if it would stack again. Like if I put this on. See, it's not going to increase. See, since I have that equipped already as a skill, it doesn't stack. I wonder if that's true. Well, we could do this, though. Oh, slot plus 10. Holy crap. Yeah, we need to learn that. But, see, since I don't have the MP up equipped on him, that will do it. But any of these HP ones, since I have them equipped already, yeah, don't need to do them again. I don't know what to put on him that I really need, other than the new thing. Because I think I have basically all the abilities I care about already on him. Unless I wanted to give him, I guess, black and white magic, which I don't have equipped. But I never use magic with him, so it doesn't really matter. Counterattack. Counter up. Increases counterattack rate. Okay, sure. Maybe I could put that on her, and then she doesn't have to have it equipped. But I mean, it's kind of the same thing either way. Sure. Why not? Like maybe this or something. I don't know. I don't know. Still learning that. We could maybe give them Like absorb magic or something. Why not? She's done with those for now. He's learned all this stuff already. Your attack boost, that wouldn't matter at all. Evade up. He's in the back row, so it doesn't really matter. I think we will need anti-paralysis in this next one, but I'll put that on manually. Critical heal, okay. How about crisis defense boost? And I mean, it's just like it's just a bunch of stuff. I don't think sure, I'll take it, but I don't really need it. As for him, he can keep that, but we want to give him resistance to paralysis in this, or is it petrify? I think it's paralysis. Let me check. Dude McGuy says, so Mike, on the podcast you asked people if they would like to see you stream Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. I'd say that since you have more critical perspective of the game, you probably shouldn't. We just end up bringing out the torches and pitchforks your way, so I don't think it would be worth it at this time. I agree, which is why I'm not going to do it. Final Fantasy VII Remake is something that appeals to the general gaming audience at large, which in my opinion are very fickle and don't really value critical analysis unless it's a game they already don't like. Serious critical discussion of FF7 Remake will be very difficult to explore without backlash until the hype storm has moved on to something else, which will probably be about 6 months or so after release. I agree with you 150 bajillion %, which is why I will not be streaming it, and why I outside of the next podcast that we're going to do, which I've already set up with Night Sky Prince, Soldier First Class, and Patrick Holloman, I probably won't talk about this game at all. So, it is what it is. I was going to check on this. I could do it for you guys if you want, though, here on $10 patrons. I could totally stream it with you guys and like let you know what I think of it. I've played it a few times now, so I think I have a pretty good handle on everything. We are looking at this guy. He is weak against fire, because he's a wind type. So that'll be good. And he casts Death and Paralyze. I don't think there's an anti-death one, right? But we do want to stop paralysis. That's a good idea. Death I might just have to deal with. Let's take a look here. Instead of the... Ooh, he's got all these extra ones now. Do I have an anti-death? I don't think so. But anti-paralysis is the one I need anyways. Set instead of the anti-sleep. We want anti-paralysis. Same for you. Anti-paralysis. Anti-paralysis. Okay, I think we're set up here. I think we're in good shape. We just need to equip the fire rings, like this sun ring, and on you, probably blaze ring. Do I have a better level 3 fire one? I don't think I do. Oh, volcano ring, right there. Yeah, that one. Okay, I think that's all the preparation I need for this guy. I imagine most 10s here are optimistically skeptical for it. I'm going to start recording here. There we go. Night Sky Prince and Soldier First Class are very optimistic about the game, so that will be an interesting contrast of perspectives. That's the reason I wanted to have them on. Is so that when I offer my rebuttals to a lot of the things people have been saying in the comments on this week, we'll at least have them on, so they can agree with those guys and not hate the video completely. Nice Guy had a stiffy when talking about his collab vid last week. Maybe use the accessory slot for avoiding status ailments or resisting elements. Use the slot for skills that you can't learn from accessories. Are there skills that I can't learn from accessories? I don't think I need to worry about any statuses except for paralysis on this next guy, so... Well, if I did that, though, then I would be equipping... Like, say there's only one paralysis, there's only one anti-paralysis thing to go around, right? So if I was... Anyways, I think I'm fine. I think I have everything I need. That's all I really have to say about it. My point is that I don't think there are any other skills that I care about. I think I have all the ones I need, so I think I'm okay. I can't think of a single skill that is like that is necessary for me to have on that I don't right now. Okay. Okay, so we have to have these two. Alright, I was hoping they wouldn't make me bring Cook or Mac into the party for this. Okay. So, yes. Attack, attack. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna do... Or wait. I had her doing the, this one. And she can cast again, so why don't we do the shield as well. That might take a while to get off, but what's more important is that we do this. Powerous on you. Oh, I forgot to do double cast. Oh, wait. Maybe Spirit Magic you can't double cast? I don't know. Powerous on you. Oh, he can. Huh, I must not have equipped it on her. I must have forgot. Why don't you also do faster on... It's not that great. Okay, so I think until they get powered up... Ooh, he sucks. And darkness. What is that? Yeah, we got petrify going on too. I thought that paralyze was the only thing that this guy did. That was very, very wrong information. I'll probably just deal with it, but I thought that special attack darkness will severely damage each party member as well as drain away MP, apply status ailments. Is it like random status ailments? Huh. So it might be a good idea to just protect myself against everything I can think of. Well, okay, let's see here. He's gonna die pretty quick. So if we do this, and if we do this, you continue with what you're doing, and you use a... What does this do? Where's my, yeah, that one. And then why don't you also use... like a Flaris bomb? Did that just heal it? I'm very confused by that, but that was a lot of damage I just did. So it doesn't matter. Holy fetch. He's gotta almost be dead, right? Yeah, just freaking attack him. Oh, she had to wait to do 3 combo? Why? Still waiting on this. This is ridiculous. I don't know, heal or something, and just cast, like, freaking flare us. Ooh, nice. It's over. Why did that fire spell heal him? That was kind of weird. Or the bomb. I guess it was the bomb. Because he's weak to fire. I'm kind of confused by that. Okay. Got a weapon for that. Sarah's notebook. Well, as far as optional bosses go, those are some pretty easy ones. I'm not even like that high a level. I think I'm still sub 60, so interesting choices there. Actually, it leads me to believe, I wonder if the final boss is harder than the optional bosses, which is usually not the case. Okay. I need to go back to Goatsa now. Drake Chandler says, everything you've had to say about the 7 remake so far I completely agree with. While it definitely turned out to be a better game than I feared, it still feels like its own thing. One debate that gets to me, though, is on the music. Most people who don't like it very much at all call it overproduced. Those who rebuttal it say the music was made very well, and I agree it is made well, but I think the argument gets lost in poor word choice. You might describe it better when you say it loses the industrial feel. I feel like it's a change in genre that's the problem. Those Who Fight was always meant to be orchestrated. Those Who Fight Further was clearly a rock song, and examples like that are a problem. I think you nailed it. It's a change in genre, which changes the feel of the song. I don't think that the music is overproduced in it. I think it's produced really, really well, actually. And there are a couple of spots where I really like it. Like, I don't like the line where, so Avalanche opens a door and Cloud goes through, and there's like, I think 5 guards waiting in there, and the door closes really quick and traps the rest of the party behind the door. And then the guards yell at Cloud, like, freeze, like, it's over, or something like that. And he's like, that's my line, you know, the really cheesy freaking anime one-liner. And the music, though, that's behind that, the way it kind of builds up into the battle theme, I actually really like that. There are really good moments, I feel, in the music. And I mean, the main battle theme overall, I think, is probably my favorite of all the things that I've heard in the remakes music. I think it's really good. I like listening to it. I think it fits. But it's the Mako Reactor theme, whatever that's called. I forget the name of it. Mako Reactor 1 or something. That one, and like Shinra's theme and a couple of others, they just don't have the tone or the feel of the originals, and those are the ones that I feel like, man, like, I wish they had stayed with the synthetic feel to them. Doom the Guy says, regarding Final Fantasy VII Remake's music, I think it's very well made, but there are two things about it. It doesn't always match the setting as well as the original tracks, which I agree with. It's very cinematic in that it rises and falls in order to highlight the action on screen, like a film score. This will probably make it harder to listen to outside of the game's context. And that's kind of becoming common in game music now, where they have to make it like dynamic, right? So that it rises and falls. Like the same track will play, but it will kind of rise and fall with whatever's happening on screen, and they kind of do these transitions between them. So I like that. I like dynamic music in games. But that is an interesting point. I didn't really want to talk to you. Okay. That is an interesting point, though, about listening to it in its own. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I thought that line Cloud had was good. It's something that someone who is trying to be cool would say, which I was about to say that. I mean, I wasn't trying to say it's a bad line necessarily when I said that it's kind of a cheesy anime-ish one-liner. Sometimes I say things and I don't mean them to be like, oh, that was horrible or something. And I think that people took my criticism, not even criticism, my point about the battles taking longer to mean that I thought the battle system sucked or something. Which I don't think. There are things that that I personally don't prefer about it, but that are not like inherently wrong. Like, for instance, one of my biggest gripes between the battle system of Xenoblade 1 and Xenoblade 2... Let me stop recording while I'm talking about this. One of the things that I really didn't like about the change in the battle mechanics from Xenoblade 1 to Xenoblade 2 was the switch from a timed cooldown on abilities to requiring you to do a certain number of physical attacks in order to build the abilities up and use them again. I don't like that mechanic, personally. I'm not going to pretend that there's something inherently wrong with that mechanic, or that it's, that you should never do it or something like that. I just don't prefer it. And in Final Fantasy VII Remake, that's essentially what happens. The ATB goes up very slowly on its own, but if you attack, it goes up faster. And what I have noticed in my playthroughs of the demo is that when I'm not directly controlling a character, the AI doesn't attack very much. And so the ATB goes up really damn slow for the AI characters, which I think hurts the battle mechanics, at least in this regard. If you wanted, say, if my preferred playstyle, let's say, was just to control Cloud, but then when the ATB filled up for the other characters, open the command menu and press R2 to just switch over and give them a command without taking direct control of the character, that's not really supported by this mechanic. It sort of requires you to switch controlling all the other characters. It's almost mandated in order to more efficiently or more optimally continue to build the ATB gauges of the ally characters. And I'm not a fan of that. I would rather that the ATB was just a timed thing like in the original game. It just went up at whatever the character's speed stat is, right? Like, you have a speed stat on the character, and the faster the speed stat, the faster the ATB fills. The cooldown would be different depending on the character's speed stat. I would prefer it to be that way, rather than requiring you to do a bunch of chip damage with the normal attacks in order to build up the ATB. And Drake Chandler brings up, I also kind of don't like how the basic attacks feel like chip damage. Now, there are a couple of things with that. If you're switching into your Punisher mode with Cloud, he does way better damage with normal attacks. If you're holding square down, you're hitting all the characters around you instead of just one guy. There are ways to build up really quickly to your first ATB and then use a magic or one of the abilities to wipe characters out very quickly so that it feels like... Because there is a sense that, like, he's sitting there swinging this enormous sword for, like, a 5-swing combo, and the dude is still alive, which is like, what the fetch? But when you get a sense for kind of, like, how the combat is tailored or the way it's kind of meant to be played, you can wipe people out pretty quickly in normal enemy groupings. I still feel like the Guard Scorpion and some of the bosses in the game are going to feel enormously damage spongy, and that the boss fights will feel bloated. I still hold to that. And there were people being like, oh, but if you understand the mechanics, you can beat the Guard Scorpion in like 3 minutes. I went back and looked at my recording of Final Fantasy VII, the original that I use, the footage that I use in my review and stuff like that. And on a leisurely playthrough of the bombing mission, just, I was making sure to go through the dialogue slowly so that, all the recording was really good and it was legible, and I made sure to get all the items on the way down there and save Jesse. I was not rushing through it at all. It was a very leisurely, slow playthrough of the bombing mission. I beat it in 15 minutes in the original game. That was my time to get through the first reactor. I'm seeing people who are literally really good speedrunners. Like, the fastest freaking time I saw was just under 14 minutes. And that's skipping battles, skipping every cutscene with, like, perfect frame accuracy. Absolutely annihilating enemies with, like, pitch-perfect optimization of the battle mechanics. Just rushing through it as fast as possible. They clocked in just under 13 minutes. That's the fastest one I saw. And the Guard Scorpion, the fastest time I saw was 2 minutes and 30 seconds to beat that thing with, like, an absolutely masterful understanding of the battle system, and just, like when the Guard Scorpion puts on the shield, right? The way that the game tells you to kill it or to get around that shield is for Cloud to go around the back and slash its generator on the back side, right? But if you cast fire on it, you can kill it. You can get rid of that generator, like, super quick. So you just, a couple casts of fire, bam, the shield's gone. So this guy was doing that. He was, like, rushing through it. Beat it in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. My leisurely playthrough of FF7, I beat the Guard Scorpion in less than 2 minutes. So I don't think, when I said that the battles take longer, I think that that's still true. And of course it's true that if you're freaking speed running the game, that you'll be able to have some kind of comparable time with how long it takes to get through the original. But that's a really, that's an argument being made in bad faith. Like, obviously, the pacing and the padding happening in this opening sequence, if you're watching the cutscenes and if you're playing it like normal, is going to take something like 2 to 3, maybe even 4 times longer to get through that section. And there's tons of added dialogue for Jesse, being all flirty and stuff like that. And what's interesting is that if you look at some of the cut dialogue from the original, it's still on the disc. So this was not like an issue with disc space. But if you look at some of the cut dialogue from the original game, there are some points where Jesse is being a little more flirtatious, being a little more, I don't know what the word to use is, obvious in terms of her, like, coming on to Cloud a little bit. But they cut that out of the original game as what seems clear to me as an editorial choice. This is not adding to it. This is dialogue is superfluous. It's hurting the pacing. Let's cut this out, right? And now what they're doing is inserting it back in, but not only doing that, adding even more to it than what was even in the cut dialogue. And this is evidence to me that this is part of padding the game out so that the Midgar section can feel like a complete 30 to 40 hour experience. And that to me indicates that the pacing of this game will probably feel a bit bloated. And this is due to the battles taking longer and adding in a bunch of stuff that probably doesn't need to be there, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to bring all this up on the podcast, but it's just funny to me how people are so... I feel like they're bending over backwards to just dismiss anything anyone says. And everyone was saying to me, oh, you don't understand the combat mechanics. That's why it took you so long to beat it. My time got down to 18 minutes, somebody said to me. It's like, dude, that is impossible if you are not skipping cutscenes. If you're not skipping cutscenes, there's no way you beat that in 18 minutes. I'm sorry, that's impossible. I've tried it. I've tried rushing through it as fast as I could. I understand a few things a little better now. I could probably cut my time down a little bit, but I beat it in 24 minutes skipping cutscenes. But if, knowing now that you can use fire to destroy the shield, I could probably cut my time down in just that boss fight in half. So, like, I could probably get my time closer to about 20, maybe 18 minutes like this guy. But you're literally speed running it, dude! You're speed running it and trying to say that time is comparable to the original. That's like an unbelievably stupid argument. Like, it doesn't mean that it's bad. Like, you can still enjoy the new pacing and say, I defend the new pacing, I like how it is, but the fact that you're trying to, like, say, no, it's actually exactly the same as in the original, or whatever, if you know what you're doing, I don't know. It's just the way people are so rabidly arguing in defense in any, to try and dismiss anything anyone says is really, I don't know, it's really bothering me. Let me read what you guys are saying here. Abilities usually have a timed recast, but some classes have a passive ability that reduces the cooldown a set amount when you deal damage. I think that you're saying that as an MMO mechanic, which I agree with that. Doom Guy says the AI builds ATB slow on purpose. They actually attack and defend fine, but the player is controlling builds ATB faster with normal attacks. It's a deliberate design decision to reward players for switching. And I know that. Like, that's true, but I don't like it. It's what I'm trying to say. Because what that takes away is a choice, a playstyle choice, which is I want to control one character, but give commands to the other ones, right? I don't want to continually switch. I don't want to be forced to continually switch. I would like to have the choice to control one guy, but then give commands to the other guys. And that seems to not exist as an option because they're forcing you into switching characters. And again, I would probably personally prefer to switch fairly often, but there probably will be times when I don't want to, when I just want to give a command to somebody. They're standing in the right position. I don't care to switch over there and move them around. I just want to give them a command, but they're not building their ATB up. Again, I don't think that is a bad or a wrong mechanic. I just don't like it. I don't prefer it. I wish that ATB was built in an automated time rather than forcing you to switch to somebody, build up their ATB, switch to this person, build up their ATB, switch to this person, build up their, you know what I mean? I just don't prefer that. I would have rather it not been made that way. Bryce says, admittedly, we haven't seen the whole battle system and how the materia will affect those other systems, so we probably could end up having out ATB gauges go up a lot faster. That's true. Maybe they'll have a materia that increases the speed or something. Jake Chandler says, I think 20 minutes to escape speaks for a lot. Bryce says it took 2 minutes and 30 seconds to escape, 5 minutes max. I know that is kind of weird. I don't know why they didn't keep it at 10 minutes like the original, because it does not take. I mean, you'd have to really freaking suck to not get out of there in 20 minutes. I mean, like, just be abysmally bad. One more thing, increasing the character speed stat increases the ATB passive charge speed, so that is a thing. Haste and speed boosting accessories will probably make the combat closer to what you prefer. That is certainly a possibility, you know. The Midgar section in the original, while 4 to 10 hours, was a series of fast-paced events. Maybe some breathing room can't hurt. If you think, I mean, again, this is going to be a matter of opinion. Like, some people will prefer the new pacing. I think that the problem is that the pace of information in the original led up to the reveal, Cloud's backstory about Sephiroth and the Nibelheim incident, right? That was built up to in sort of a careful manner, right? Like the pacing of information, the way the events were constructed and handled and paced was really perfect to get you into, okay, here's what's really going on in the right amount of time without taking too long. Which is the reason why I think they have to show Sephiroth in the Midgar section now, because there's no way they can wait 50 hours or whatever to introduce Sephiroth now. Like, that would be awful pacing in terms of like revealing who your real villain is. So now they have to kind of change the story in order to insert him earlier. But here's my biggest problem with how they're doing it. For those of you who have seen the Chapter 2 preview that like maybe a Maximilian dude kind of went over, he talks about how like you see the impact of like all the people in Midgar who are like freaking out and there's all this panic and you know all this damage that's been done. I really love that choice. If they had not changed the fact that Shinra was the one responsible for blowing up the reactor instead of Avalanche. If Avalanche had been responsible and it had been made clear that they were the ones who did this, that would have been a lot more powerful, in my opinion, and that would have been like one of the most amazing additions they could have possibly put in the game. I would have been 100% on board with that. Then, in the middle of this chapter, we start to see Cloud having a vision of Sephiroth, and I don't like that. For a couple of reasons. I mean, I've already talked about I made 2 videos, right? The magic of Final Fantasy VII's plot twists and the one about Sephiroth as a villain. I've already kind of discussed why I think revealing Sephiroth too soon is damaging to his reveal, how it was done in the game, it being really powerful, mysterious, haunting, like whatever other freaking adjectives you want to use there. But what I really think is being hurt is that they are making a big point, much more so than the original, to show that something's wrong with Cloud. He's suffering from PTSD. He's got something going on. They had like that little tiny moment in the first reactor in the original where the screen kind of goes white and he sort of like is holding his head and shaking a little bit. And he hears a voice saying, "Get out." But you have no idea what that's about. It's just like an internal voice, you know, like, careful, this isn't just a reactor or whatever the dialogue is there. But the game makes the player trust Cloud and trust that he knows what he's talking about. That's like so important for the twist of the story working, is that that's the sleight of hand going on from the storytellers to the people playing the game. They make you believe that Cloud is trustworthy. He's a reliable narrator. He knows what he's talking about. He is an ex-soldier. They make you trust him. And they're putting more emphasis now on him being something's wrong with him. And I think that hurts the story. Because if you don't trust Cloud, if you think, oh, there's something going on here, something's not right with him, then the twist won't have as much power in it. And again, we've all played Final Fantasy VII. There's so many people who be like, there's no mystery left in this. Obviously, for people who have played the original game and know the story already, whatever. But if there are tons of people who are playing this for the first time, and I don't think that twist is going to be as powerful with people being suspicious of him or knowing that something's wrong with him. So I don't like that. I don't like that they're doing that. I think that hurts the story overall. A lot of people talking. Let me go back up to Chocolate Rob. How do you rate Silent Hill Shattered Memories? That's a good example of a game that was reimagined from the older game in a controversial way. You know, if I had played the original Silent Hill, which I still haven't played, I might have a different opinion on it, but I enjoyed Shattered Memories for what it was, what it was trying to do. I mean, it's not a perfect game by any means. It's not like one of my favorites, but I liked it. And I specifically liked the kind of like psychological profile that they were doing on you in those like sort of interlude sections where you do like the little, the little psychoanalysis with the guy. Now, he kind of like turned out to be a really weird psychiatrist. He's like screaming at you and like throwing a glass on the floor. There's some weird stuff about it, but I enjoyed the idea. I should probably play the original Silent Hill at some point and kind of like determine for myself whether or not I think Shattered Memories was a good reimagining or something. This is kind of the same thing with, like, say, Dragon Quest, Your Story, right? Like, I enjoyed it for what it is, but I haven't played the original game yet. And I suspect that when I play the original game, which I think I might start a playthrough of, like, tonight, and just chip at a little bit before I go to bed, I suspect that I probably won't like Your Story for the reasons that I did like it after playing the game and seeing how it was handled there. I think a couple of people, Hat, for instance, let me know some things about, like, oh, you actually go to that ferry that he goes to towards the end of the game. You can only go and visit her as a child. It's part of like the childhood experience, and you lose that as you move into adulthood. I love that as a concept, and that was obviously totally ignored for the movie, and so that would be a criticism I would also hold, knowing that. So I think playing the original will probably change my opinion of the movie too, but I think if in the same vein, if I had played Silent Hill, the original game, I might not like Shattered Memories very much. Doomy Guy says, I'd say the basic enemy fights are about the same speed as the original Shinra grunts, turrets, and stuff like that. It's the bosses and mini-bosses like Sweeper that take a lot longer. Yeah, I agree with that. With R2-L2, you can give command to a party member. Correct, yes. I think you know what I'm talking about. That's what I want to be able to do with their ATBs, going up at the same rate as what I'm doing. If I'm controlling Cloud and I'm attacking, my ATBs going up at a certain rate. I would like to have the AI characters receiving their ATBs at a comparable rate without me having directly control them, so that I can sit there and fight with Cloud and then just X R2, give Barrett tell him to use Thunder, and then just continue controlling Cloud. I would like to have that option. And like you guys are saying, maybe they'll have a haste or some kind of accessory that will allow that to happen down the line. I would prefer that if that's the case. Sounds like they are introducing Sephiroth in Chapter 2. Yes, they are. I think realistically, this section will be about 15 to 20 hours, not the 40 plus they are hyping. We'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. We don't need no remakes. What's up, Ignair? How's it going? The original FF7 is not replaced by the remake. Ignair says true. Bryce says it is still being sold on every platform. Sorry, I'm not trying to dismiss your argument. Ignair says, okay, I probably shouldn't listen to this since I'm currently playing FF7. I'm very early in. Sorry, I don't think I detailed the twist, but I might have ruined it for you by... I didn't realize someone was in here who hasn't played FF7. I figure everybody who's in here usually has played FF7. It's kind of crazy to think they're, anyways. Since I have reviews of all the FF games and stuff, I figure most people who follow me have probably played at least FF7, but... Bryce says, I don't mind the PTSD moments because timeline-wise, he maybe stumbled into Midgar after Zack's death a week or two ago. I think showing his PTSD could be different from showing that there's something going on with him. If Ignair is still here, you probably shouldn't listen to this part. So... when they're waiting for the elevator and Jesse says, so, Tifa, right? Are you guys close? And then he has his little, like, zzz, and it goes, like, kind of greenish, and he's like, oh, Tifa. So, right, they're using that as a little setup, a little breadcrumb along the way. They have moments like that more often than they did in the original. And that is what I'm more pointing to. I think the idea of having Cloud, while the city is burning and there's all this destruction around him in Chapter 2, him having a PTSD moment and remembering or seeing Nibelheim burning is awesome. I think that's totally fine, because I don't think that suggests something weird is wrong with him as much as it does he has a traumatic past and there's a story there to be told, and now I'm interested in it, right? So I think that that's a little bit different, if that makes sense. Rob says, if you're not played it before, then definitely not. Bryce says, I'm coming in from a perspective of having grown up and played each entry of the compilation of FF7. Ignare, yeah, I didn't listen to the details of the twist. Bryce says, I bought Dragon Quest V based on your and Kaysen's opinion of it a few years ago. Oh, really? What opinion did I give of it? I don't think I've never played it all the way through. I've only played like maybe the first 5 or 6 hours of Dragon Quest V, so I can't remember what opinion I gave of it. Doomy Guy says, I'm torn on the Shinra destroying the reactor change. It could be good depending on what they do with it. Also, they have an opportunity to call Barrett's ends justify the means motivations into question earlier on due to members of Avalanche now being less committed to the cause and expressing doubts in Chapter 2, rather than Kate Sith being the one to do it 20 to 30 hours later. I really don't like it. I see where you're coming from, but I don't trust that the storytellers at Square Enix right now can do a better job than what was done in the original. And I think the entire power of it is robbed by the fact that he didn't actually kill those people. And I'm still very curious to see, because it's hinted at in one of the trailers. There's a shot where it's obviously just after the reactor exploded, and there's Wedge and Biggs in the shot, and they're expressing like surprise at how large the explosion is. And I think Biggs says something, this couldn't have been us, right? This to me suggests that in this version, Avalanche did not intend for the explosion to be that big and did not intend to cause that kind of destruction, did not intend to do anything other than maybe disable the reactor. If that's the case, it is a direct change from the original. And people, I mean, it's just crazy to me how fast this notion has spread, and it's just completely wrong. People are trying to say, oh, but Jessie's dialogue in the basement of the Seventh Heaven bar, she expresses a level of surprise at the bomb's yield. And see, it wasn't intended, but like literally right after saying that, she talks about how proud she is of the job she did. Barrett steps up and says, the next one's going to be even bigger. So it was clear in the original they intended to do that much damage. And Barrett did not give a single fetch about killing innocent people. And he that is so important for his arc. Not only that he intended to do it, but that he actually did kill innocent people. He was the one responsible. He killed people. That's the moral conundrum that is lost if it is true that they are going to take away not only the culpability of having done it, but also the intention to have done it. It totally robs the power of that moral conundrum from Kate Sith, who is... Okay, there are people in here who haven't played the game. Kate Sith accusing him of, like, not owning up to the fact that he is kind of a bad dude for what he did. So it's not just the fact... Anyways, I'll get into this in way more detail. There's a ton more examples of Reeve and Mayor Domino and other people who make it pretty clear and say with explicit text that Barrett and Avalanche were responsible for the explosion, right? And instead, people are trying to rely on vague text that they are saying implicitly states that they did not intend. When literally right after that, Barrett steps up, and Jessie even herself are like stoked about the damage they just caused. And the fact that in the scene right before the destruction of the plate, right, when you're running up the stairs and all the Avalanche members are there, they're expressing remorse for what they did. Because they did intend to do that. And they're like, yep, this was a mistake. We shouldn't have gone this extreme. So I really don't like the direction they're going. Because I could be wrong, but at least the trailer of that scene when they're talking afterwards suggests that Avalanche did not intend to do this. And that to me really hurts. At least this specific arc for Barrett, or this moral implication of the fact that you're not really controlling heroes in the traditional sense. It's kind of like if in Final Fantasy IV, right? If they had changed it so that Cecil didn't kill anybody to steal the crystals. It's like he didn't really do it. You know, he went there to try and bully people and force them, but he didn't actually kill anybody. It was actually like remotely like the King of Baron or something had some spell and he like snapped his finger and he killed them instead. And Cecil was going to back down and not do it. That would ruin the entire freaking plot arc for Cecil, having to wrestle with the fact that he freaking killed innocent people to steal those crystals and has to go on the quest to become a paladin and redeem himself. Like, that would be the equivalent. It would ruin the freaking story. Bryce says, honestly, I love that Superman from CW Supergirl is voicing Sephiroth in the remake. Superman from CW Supergirl. Kind of Mark Hamill's level of versatility from Luke Skywalker to Joker. I didn't realize that was the guy voicing him. Doom Guy says, yeah, like they've changed the setup, but now we have to see how they pay it off. I don't think their intent in FF7R was to destroy the reactor, only disable. That is 100% a retcon. But now, if Barrett still thinks their bomb caused that higher level of destruction and he decides to bomb the next reactor anyway, then I think their morality is still highly questionable. I think this change is ultimately Square Enix changing the story to play it safe for sales reasons. But it wouldn't make sense. I see where you're going with this, right? His morality could still come into question if he believes he did that much damage and still goes through with the next one. I see where you're coming from with that, but it would seem, I don't know. It's hard to put into words what I'm thinking. I'm trying to find the words for it. It's hard for me to see how the storytellers, what's the purpose of changing it if you're just going to do it anyways? Right? If you're just going to make Barrett go through with being a true terrorist anyways, right? Which is kind of the whole thing that they're probably trying to dodge for the fact that we're in a post 9/11 world, right? If you're still going to have him do it anyways, why not just have him do it from the start? Why change that? And I know the reason. It's because they're trying to do this really weird false flag operation to blame Wu Tai, because that was also in the trailer where the hologram of President Shinra shows up and he's like, oh, no, we'll blame Wu Tai for this. And it's that is so dumb. Wu Tai has been completely crushed by Shinra. They have no power. They have no military. What is the purpose of doing that? You've already completely fetching ruined Wu Tai. What is the purpose of this elaborate false flag operation to blame Wu Tai for these reactor explosions? I don't understand it at all. Unless they're going to try to expand it to I'm making this totally off the top of my head. Maybe there was some kind of agreement made between Wu Tai or some kind of pact or something like that, where the war's end was brought about and will allow Wu Tai to stay as a sovereign nation or whatever. We won't take you over. We won't put Mako reactors there in Wu Tai. And you can do your own thing, but you can't have a military moving forward or something like that, right? Unless they're going to do something like that where now it's we want to put Mako reactors in Wu Tai,
We want to go against the pact that we made. So therefore, we're going to create this false flag operation to say that they broke their pact and now we're going to invade them. I don't know. Like, I literally just pulled that out of my butt right now. Like, if they expanded it in such a way, like maybe they could gerrymander some explanation for this. But I just feel like it's not necessary. Like, why add that detail? Why create more work unless you're just trying to find reasons to expand the story so that you can turn this into a 3-game trilogy instead of just making the game from the story that was already there. I feel like, and there was a recent interview with Katase where and I think Night Sky Prince reported on this, where he's like, we had 2 choices. We could either make it into one game and sort of like summarize and skip a lot of stuff, and we wouldn't be able to pack it all into one game, or we could do it the right way and make sure every detail of the original story got in there and turn it into this multi-part thing. It's like, no, those are not the only 2 choices. That is not the only 2 choices on the board. You didn't have to go this extreme with its visual fidelity. You did not have to add all of this ridiculous padded stuff into it, and you could have made it into one game. It's totally possible. There's way more dialogue in something and story content in something, say, like The Witcher 3 than there is in the original Final Fantasy 7. And that was done with, an open world and just like massive amounts of assets. Like there is no way that they can convince me it would be impossible to make Final Fantasy 7, even in the style that they're doing it, into one game. I just think that is PR speak. It's total BS. That is not, it's not, we either don't do it justice and we don't like get everything in there, we cut a bunch of stuff, or we do it this way where it's turned into 3 games. This is being used as an excuse to turn it into 3 games because game production is very expensive. It's very, very expensive, and they are all the time that's being spent developing the systems and creating the assets. They want that to pay off in the long term with 3 $60 purchases from the fans, rather than one $60 purchase from the fans. They want to make 3 times the amount of money on all the work that's going into this. That is the real reason they're expanding it. It's not because all of this needed to have expansion. There are parts where they could have. Like I said, I really enjoy that you see the aftermath of the destruction of Midgar after the first reactor explosion. You really get to see people panicking and freaking out and people dying and people hurt and like all the chaos that erupts. That's a great addition. But this extra stuff with the Wutai false flag and all this added dialogue with Jesse, and I can see the ways in which they will be padding. It's not a meaningful expansion of the story. It is padding to the story to drag it out to be 3 games long. And I am seeing that, and I think that it ultimately will hurt the story for me. Obviously, everyone else freaking loves everything they're seeing, and so I'm the crazy one. But I don't think that what I'm saying is like outrageous or doesn't have any sort of like basis for concern. Like, I don't know. I don't understand how no one else is saying these things, I guess. That like everyone's just like swallowing this thing hook, line, and sinker. And just completely trusts that Square Enix is going to like make a freaking perfect game, and they're already calling it perfect and whatever. Drake Chandler says, ultimately, I think they're going to change a handful of things to force Yuffie and Vincent into the plot since they didn't provide much in the original. That's another area where I think they can expand, though. I'd be happy to have an expansion for Vincent, for instance. So since they're not going to be optional characters, I think it'd be great to do more with like Vincent's story than what was in the original. I think that's an area where you can expand a little bit. It doesn't have to turn into 3 games because of it, but there's room to expand there, for sure. I would be totally happy with them doing more with Vincent or Yuffie's characters. Rob says, because they're scared of Yuffie? Knowing Yuffie, she'd just rush into maybe joining the party to fight Shinra, just speculating. Dune McGuy says, my take, speculation. The change is to take the edge off of it for the audience, so the player isn't playing as a terrorist. I believe that's true as well. This was probably dictated to the developers by the company for reception and sales reasons. I totally agree with that too. And that's something that I don't think you can get around. Like, we live in a post 9/11 world. I mean, Final Fantasy VII wasn't controversial in this way in 1997 because that hadn't happened yet. In today's world, it's going to be more controversial, and I see them trying to play it safe. But I mean, that stands alone. I mean, Modern Warfare 2 did it though, right? Modern Warfare 2 had a scene where you shoot a bunch of people in an airport. It was very controversial. It didn't hurt the long-term success of Call of Duty. So, obviously, they're not glorifying terrorist violence. They're creating a moral conundrum for the player. They're making you think about that. Holy crap, should I do this? This is nuts. Like, I don't want this. That's part of art. Art is about pointing out moral complexities, gray areas, and pointing out what is and what is not right. And in the original game, they condemn these actions. So what's controversial about condemning terrorist actions? I don't understand that. I think it's cowardly to go this route, especially with the long-term success of Call of Duty having done something just like this. There are hints in the remake of people being dissatisfied with Shinra in Midgar, so this is a false flag to trick the citizens into thinking that Avalanche and Wutai is a greater threat than they actually are. I mean, they already have that established, though. They already have a vehicle, an event for that, which is the destruction of the Sector 7 plate, where they performed the false flag operation on Avalanche, right? So there's already something for that. I don't know why they have to pin this on Wutai at all, rather than just on Avalanche like in the original game. Bryce says, I think a lot of this discussion might either be tempered or over-confirmed after the release. We all really need to wait till April 10th. I want to see how exactly they expand the story, either by full releases or expansion DLCs. And I guess I can make that caveat first. This is obviously coming from a place of, to some degree, a lot of speculation, based on what has been shown. Of course, we don't know exactly how this is going to all play out or how it will be paid off. I have suspicions that I think are grounded suspicions based on what we've seen in trailers and what the tendency for storytelling has been from Square Enix and from directly these people in the main line Final Fantasy series for the last decade, at least. So maybe even longer than that. So I think I have grounded suspicions, but of course I'm not trying to say they've made all these mistakes. I can't know that because I haven't played it, but that's just kind of where I stand. So this is what I think is going to happen. And based on my track record recently in terms of like what I have sort of predicted or called in terms of like Xenoblade Chronicles 2, for instance, when that first trailer came out and I expressed all my concerns about things that I thought they were changing with the art and the storytelling and all this other stuff, it was all right. Like, I've been playing games long enough. I've studied the development of these Japanese developers long enough. I know the personnel well enough, I think, to pretty accurately predict the direction they think they're going with this. I will be the first to admit that I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I will come out and say, you know what? I was wrong about that. This was actually done really well. This was really subtly done, and this is actually a really nice addition to it. But I think I'm right in terms of what I think they're doing with Barrett's arc and the reasons why they're doing it. And I don't know. I think that overall it hurts the story. I think the original story will be diminished, or that there will be an element of it, a really important element of it, that will be reduced or taken away from by these choices. That's not to say that it'll be a bad game, because I think that it is an exceptionally polished game. Again, mostly because it doesn't appear to be open world. I think a lot of people are expecting that you're going to be able to like explore Midgar in an open fashion, just go anywhere you want in the city. After the bombing run demo, I don't think that that's going to be true. I think it's actually going to be a fairly linear game. Kind of like Final Fantasy 13, where the only reason they could get that level of polish on the graphics for the time was because it was a hallway. Now, I don't think that the maps in Final Fantasy 7 Remake will be designed like hallways. I think that they learned from that mistake with Final Fantasy 13. I don't think that they'll design their maps like that anymore. But I do think it'll be a fairly linear game. I don't think you're going to have a lot of room to explore the city or anything like that. So the graphical fidelity is amazing. It looks like a next generation game. It looks like a PlayStation 5 game, which makes sense because the PlayStation 5 is coming up and they're probably developing it to be multi-plat like that. So it's extremely polished. I mean, it's super well done. I think the combat system is good. There are things about it I don't prefer, but I would never say it's bad. And I think that they've come up with something that is the closest they've ever gotten to creating a hybrid system that people are going to really like, versus something like FF15, which people really weren't on board with. It was too thoughtless, too mindless of a battle system, right? Like, for instance, I really like the fact that you can't use items in battle without having an ATB, which keeps you from potion spamming like in Final Fantasy 15. That was one of my biggest criticisms of FF15, was that you could just freaking sit there and spam potions. You could buy a million potions and you would never die. And Phoenix Downs and stuff, because there was no limit to that. You could just like pop them whenever. They were readily available everywhere, and it's like impossible to lose. You could kill enemies that were way higher in level than you by just like brute forcing it and not like having any strategy or anything, and it was really, really easy. So the fact that they've added in this that you can't use an item without filling up your ATB, I think will prevent that kind of spamming, which I think is really good. So they've addressed a lot of the problems with FF15's hybrid combat system, and I think that they've done a lot of good stuff. It's just the concerns that I have are a lot more on the story side, which to me was the most important thing to get right for this. If they were, which is not the case, they're not trying to please me. They're trying to please a general gaming audience. And it's just not something that I wanted out of this remake, right? Doomie Guy says, by the way, you are not the only YouTuber with big skepticism going into the remake. You are not crazy. What Culture Gaming also expressed some of the same concerns, especially regarding Sephiroth and Cloud. Oh, I've never heard of What Culture. I'll have to look into that. I haven't heard of that channel before. Bryce says, it does look gorgeous on my OG PS4. Definitely not 60 FPS, though. Yeah, I was wondering how it performs on regular PS4s, right? Because I have the PS4 Pro, and Kaysen has the PS4. So we have two of them that we got for the purpose of recording footage and stuff. And when I came up here, I brought the Pro with me, and he has the regular one down there that we got from as the Beastmas gift, right? So I was curious as to how well it performs. It was really, really nice. I think it was still 30 FPS. I could be wrong. Maybe I'll have to play it again and see if it's 60. But it seemed like 30 to me. But a really steady 30, a really nice 30 on the PS4 Pro. I wondered if it skipped or jumped or, wasn't totally optimal on the normal PS4. Doomie Guy says, yeah, it'll probably mostly be hallways with some hubs in between, like Sector 7 and 5. Will probably be larger than they were in the original. Yeah, I saw that they locked it to 30 FPS. Yeah, I assume that this will actually be designed with a lot of like hallways connected, like you're saying, to larger hubs, which I think is good. I think that's a good idea. I don't think that they should make Midgar completely explorable and open world. I think that would hurt the pacing too. So that I think is the right choice, and it makes it so that they can make the game look really beautiful. So I like that. Miss Venus says, I'm keen on the FF7 private stream for patrons. Maybe I should do that tomorrow, if you guys are down for it. Maybe I could get started at something like 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I can stream just the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo for you guys, and we can kind of talk about it as we go through. See you later, Miss Venus. Look forward to that tomorrow, I guess. I think I'll just plan on doing that tomorrow as my stream for tomorrow for you guys. So I'll try to get started around 2:30, 3 o'clock Mountain Time tomorrow, about the same time I started today. Doomie Guy says, I tested on Pro and normal. I don't think the demo has any changes between Pro versus original. I didn't notice any difference. Well, that's good. That's really good. And I think that was probably really important for them, right, is to make the experience as comparable as possible between both, which was probably a lot of work. I mean, again, the level of polish on this, and it runs really good. I mean, it's a very competently made game. You can tell a lot of care went into the performance. Bryce says, I hope that only this installment will be locked to PS4, and each installment should come out every 6 months to a year between each. Any longer, and it will lose relevance. That's a good point, too. I mean, now that the assets are built, right, I think that they can probably do an annual release on this. That's my suspicion, is that, all the time and effort went into creating assets, creating systems, building the foundation for the game. But once it's built, I mean, it's all just about designing at that point. It's just about using those assets that you've already built and just like constructing the next zone or whatever, designing the next enemies. I think that the production will go by much quicker now that they've done most of the legwork, which was, again, I think the purpose of turning this into 3 games. They did all this work. It was 5 years or whatever of work. They want that to pay off 3 times or however many installments it's going to be. They want, for that 5 years of work, they want 3 or 4 $60 payouts instead of just 1. And this is the reason why they have expanded the story as much as they have. The real reason, in my opinion. Not because it needed it, not because... And there are definitely places in the original game where things were unclear and there was like points of contention in terms of people's interpretation of the story. By the way, none of which has ever been, did Shinra blow up the first reactor or was it Avalanche? That was never a point of contention literally until last week when the demo dropped. I've never heard anyone ever speak of that, which is really telling to me that I don't think anyone ever saw it that way. But there are other areas of contention for sure that they could have clarified and expanded. But I don't think it required this much expanding. I'd be worried about the scope and content of the content and length if the second game ended at Junon. Yeah, that would be weird. I think that they have to take it all the way to the City of the Ancients. With, the infamous scene at the City of the Ancients. I think they have to get all the way to there at the end of part 2. Okay. Good discussion. Thanks for indulging me, guys. I felt like I needed to talk through some of that to sort of like clarify some of my own positions on this. And then, carry those over into the next podcast. So I'll be streaming it tomorrow as well. And I think we'll go even further into it. But this has been a good discussion for sure. I appreciate you guys being level-headed and allowing me to kind of go off a little bit there. I won't adopt that tone probably for the podcast, but it's important for me to work through some of the things that I'm thinking about in my mind and sort of like solidify where I stand. But anyway, so let's do this minigame a little bit. This is the backyard, and you can get a lot of slot seeds for this. Okay, so you can't use a magic. Oh, wait, we have one. Oh, that's right. So you have to collect magic locks and bring them in order to unlock certain tiers of battles. So we have the magical lock key. So this is the heavy class. So let's fight and see how this goes. So there's a bunch of different ones. So we have the light, which is 5 different battles here. And I think there's like 4 or 3, depending on how well you got to get like 3 stars. So the better you perform, the better the reward you get. So if you get 3 stars on stuff, you'll be able to unlock more slot seeds. So that's really like the main purpose of doing this. But these bosses or these battles are kind of set up with like certain gimmicks to them, where you can only have one character, or there are different gimmicks to it. So we'll see how it goes. Bryce says, you aren't crazy, Mike. We all feel similarly. Well, that's good. It's nice to know that I'm not alone, because sometimes it feels that way. I feel like, again, and I've said this in the past, that I feel like a lot of people here on Discord are a little bit more like-minded to me than, say, maybe even my general audience on YouTube. Not that we had a lot of kickback this time. It's not like the podcast we did right before we took our big hiatus. That one we got, like, people were just pissed off at us for what we said in that. This time, the response, the disagreement has been really civil for the most part, but I still feel like people are kind of reaching really hard to defend this and not really like taking my points in good faith. Like, they don't really want to hear what I have to say. They do, but what they want me to do is praise it. They want to hear my praise for Final Fantasy VII Remake. They don't want to hear my criticisms of it, which is why I was planning not to talk about it. But, I mean, there's just been way too many requests in personal messages on Twitter and elsewhere. Like, please, like, I want to know what you have to say. Please play it. And it's like, I know what you want. What you're really asking is, please hype this more for me. I want you to become part of my hype train, and I just can't. Okay, let's try this. What are the conditions? Feed all the enemies. Whatever. This will be easy. What's up, Sage Valiant? How's it going? Solidarity. Drake Chandler says, yeah, Mike, I think we all trust each other's opinions so much here because we all agree so much and come here to actually discuss this stuff. Mike, please stoke our confirmation bias. That's exactly what people are asking me to do. Sorry, guys, I can't freaking do it. Okay, these are water dudes, so we need some earth. I think you can get SP from these battles, but not experience. So we can still kind of work on our Typhoon Quick Ring. Yes. I think we can still kind of work on our accessories and stuff. I'll just go with Gamble. And maybe one of you can use a freaking ground. Oh, wrong one. Black magic. I don't care. These guys are way too easy to kill. Multiply our endorphins. Yes. Exactly. No damage. I think this guy's dead. That should give me 3 stars. I would think. I don't think I could have done that any more optimally than that. Maybe you don't get SP from these battles. Okay. Is it a slot seed? Or backyard for beginners obtained? What the fish? I thought you got a slot seed for that. Let me see what my score was. Maybe I should actually look up what the... Okay, that was a 2-star. What on earth? How do you get a 3-star? Okay, I'm gonna have to pull this up. So... Yeah, that one I could have gotten a slot seed. If I had gotten 3 stars. But what's the... Because I don't know how I could have done that more efficiently. I beat them in 1 turn. So do you have to, like, kill them all in one freaking sweeping attack? In order to, This is crazy. I wonder if there's... Allow the associate killings to do their combination attack 3 times. Secret requirement. Oh! What the fetch? What does that mean? Stars are earned for the player's performance in battle, and prize exchanger Gleg provides rewards based on the number of stars acquired. Receptionist Bormus will also give the player rewards for winning each battle the first time. And an additional reward is provided for achieving the secret objective. Okay, so the secret objective is not part of getting 3 stars? Well, let's just experiment with this. Yeah, that's the same, yeah, the combination attack they did, yeah. So I need to let them do that 3 times for the secret, whatever they call it, the secret requirement. But what I'm curious about is, do you have to allow them to do the secret requirement in order to get 3 stars? That doesn't seem to be answered in this wiki. Because it seems like it's separate. So I'm going to try it again. Whoops. And this time, I'm going to try and kill them with just a single spell. And see how that works. I could probably actually do, like what I do with the silver Kelolons, where I have that skill that allows me to where is it? I feel like oh, it's not one of these. Where you support magic guys? Where the fetch is it? There's too many freaking abilities in this game. Holy fetch. Not reduce casting time, it's... What? Where is it? It's not casting support. Jeez. If I have casting support set on these guys, maybe I can get one of the mages to take them out. Like, real quick. In the Backyard Magazine section, it is implied that the secrets are needed to get the 3 stars. Give the magazines to Informant Zillan to learn the secret for 3 stars on every battle for each class. Okay, so maybe we do need to let them do that. Let's try it. Let's try that first and see how that goes. So if we need to allow them to perform that 3 times. Drake says, yeah, these menus give Mass Effect 1 a run for their money on clutter. Absolutely. The list is way too long. They need to break it up somehow to make it easier to access stuff. I know that they have a filter option if you press like the X button and you can filter what type you want, but I think there's better ways to do it. Why don't we like defend? And defend. And I can't use composite magic. Huh. And she can use composite magic. Like we did like all ground or something, or all grounda. That would probably take them out. So let's just defend and let them do this. You have to let them do this 3 times? Oops. Those 2. Bryce says, speaking of Final Fantasy VII and the remake, 2 of the voice actors for the remake just premiered the 3rd video of them playing the original. Oh yeah, I'd seen that. I remember seeing that. Okay, if we... well, let's just do what I was thinking about doing. Let's casting support on her. You can attack, I guess. And then you can... I wonder if this will go on this turn, though. You know what? Fetch it. I think this is fine if we just go like this. Where's Grounda? There you are. Suppose I could have tried killing them in the last round because I still would have gotten this off because they're faster than me. So after 2 rounds, I think I can do it. But I feel like I'm not going to get 3 stars because of the performance, because it took so long to kill him, right? I do like the new voice cast. I agree with that. I do like the voice cast. I think some of the writing is really cringy. And this is actually something else I wanted to talk about, too. Okay, that did work. Yeah. So you have to do the secret part of it to get 3 stars. And we get a slot seed for that. All right, so now we know that that's how it goes. Here's the What Culture Gaming video. Generally pretty clickbait, hype train type channel, but the points and concerns made in this video are surprisingly level-headed. I will definitely want to watch that later. No, but this was the other thing. I didn't have a chance to talk about this in the podcast, even though I hinted I was going to, was the transition between a theatrical style of storytelling in the old Final Fantasy games to a cinematic style of storytelling in the new Final Fantasy games. And I've mentioned this to some degree in the past, with like the big emotive animations, like with Barrett beating his chest and the huge jumps that they do and the waving the arms around, right? I liken it to a stage play where there's not like a ton of room for a ton of subtlety, especially with the voice in theater, because you have to get the people in the upper deck in the back row to understand the emotion of the character just as much as the people sitting on the front row. So that usually requires like an extra level of projection. You have to kind of be yelling a lot. And it requires big emotive gestures and expression with the body and movement to get across what the character is feeling. And this is almost, I think, directly true for basically before the PlayStation 2, where you couldn't do a lot of facial animation, there wasn't voice acting, there was all these things that were limited, so you couldn't like express emotion in a more nuanced and subtle way. And so, with the wide camera angles, the fixed camera angles that are up high, and the characters are very small on the screen, and this is true on the Super Nintendo and the NES as well, you had to really like do big animations and big expressive sort of gestures in order to express what the character was feeling, which is why Barrett was so pushed over the top in terms of his movement, getting mad and slamming his chest and rah, 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 rah. But now that Final Fantasy has transitioned into a cinematic form of storytelling, these things feel too big, like too much. And everything else that they're presenting, they're going for like this naturalistic look and feel to everything. It's not like a cartoony anime look. It's a very almost quasi-realistic look and tone. And this now clashes, this style of big expressive dialogue and animation clashes with that transition into cinematic style of presentation. And so I feel like it actually hurts it, even though a lot of people will say, this is exactly how he was in the original game. That's true. But it's the same thing as if they adapted a screen, like a play into a movie. Like, let's say Les Miserables or something like that. Maybe that's not the best answer because it's not the best example because it's still a musical. But my point is that you don't have to, the same style of acting in a play is not required on film. There's a reason why those two things are differentiated, but they're not differentiating the voice acting in the same way between like the style of the original game on the PS1 with all the limitations there and now what they can do with the camera in modern games. And I think that they've kind of missed that. And so a lot of these things feel really over the top in ways that they clash a little bit. They don't feel good. Like Barrett's diatribe as they're on the elevator going down about, it's up here sucking Mako out of the, while you eat, while you shit, while you whatever. And he's like, it doesn't care. And he's just like yelling. And like the even the animations he's doing, right? These big, enormous animations. It just doesn't feel right to me. And a lot of people will disagree with me on that. A lot of people are going to like the cheesiness of it. And they're going to think that that's true to the original. But I don't think that that was necessarily the intent of the original, was to feel cheesy. I think that was just how they could express a lot of frustration and anger at that time. And I think people will interpret that as being, oh, but he was always this big cheesy Mr. T guy. And I don't know. I guess I don't fully agree with that. Bryce says, understandable. They definitely were going for the story, not the challenge. Oh, I think he's talking about the video. Drake says, is the theater presentation something you'd consider to be part of FF's old identity? Yes, I do. And if you've seen the Final Fantasy retrospective by Game Trailers back in the day, I think they did this like back in 2009, 2010, something like that. It was really funny because I think in their FF6, they talked about the little sprites being actors, like actors on a stage. And if you remember, a lot of these games have sections built into them that are a theatrical presentation, right? Final Fantasy VII has a section in the Gold Saucer where you do a little stage play. Final Fantasy VI, the amazing opera sequence, right? With the musical going on there. There's a lot of examples of them doing like a stage presentation. And in the Game Trailers retrospective, they talked about the sprites being like little actors on a stage, right? That needed to emote, and how Final Fantasy VI like added all these new emotions, all these new sprites to emote or show different emotions because the character sprites were a little bigger and they could do that. I think that's a really, really apt and poignant sort of like perhaps even accidental, like I don't want to say accidental, but it applies to what I'm talking about in a way that maybe wasn't intended by what they were saying in the video. It's an insight that I think is true. I think that those games were presented in a more theatrical way back then. And then as soon as we moved into the 3D era, when they started having more and more ability to present the games in a cinematic way, this is where we started to see a fall off, in my opinion, of this feels weird and awkward and kind of, it doesn't like Final Fantasy X's cutscene direction. I just hate. I just don't think it's good because the actors are still doing a theatrical performance, but it's being presented cinematically, and it doesn't really fit. It doesn't really gel. I think that's a big reason why a lot of the Final Fantasy storytelling post PS1 era has felt, man, this is super cheesy. You know, you eye roll at it. It's a little cringy to watch the scenes. I think this is the reason why. Doom Guy says they have transferred the over-the-top animations into both the voice performance and animations now. To an anime audience, that probably feels fine, but the game is presented in a photorealistic style with anime writing presentation, which I'm fine with personally, but I can see why for other people it feels off. And this also dovetails into the fact that theatrical styles of acting are what is popular in Japan anyways, even in their movies, and in their anime and everything else, which is why a lot of people who love anime won't have any problem with this at all, because this is the style that anime is made in. They don't go for naturalistic acting in anime very often. They do sometimes, but a lot of times it's very over the top because that's just kind of the style of acting that arose in Japan and was popular. So they don't really favor naturalistic acting in the same way that we do. And I think, anyways, it's not that it's wrong or bad or anything like that. And a lot of people are going to like it, and that's fine. I think that I just would have preferred the transition to a cinematic form of storytelling also transition the acting style and the writing style into a cinematic form of storytelling, personally. But anyways, what's this one? Festival of Magic. Up to 2 PCs. Okay, we can only have 2 characters. Defeat all enemies. Attacks not allowed. Skills not allowed. And items not allowed. So we have to use magic. Don't let any of the enemies die by another enemy attack. Kill them yourselves. Huh. Okay. I have a feeling that this might require some... Let me try this one. I'm going to go with Jansen. And her. And this is what I'm going to do. Begin battle. Okay, I'm going to read you guys' comments as soon as I finish this battle. I'm doing a lot of sitting around, and I'm recording this, so there's going to be a lot of dead space in the recording that I'm going to be pissed at myself about later. Okay. What we're going to do is this. Oh, she can't do skills. I forgot. Fetch. I was going to try to do... I was going to try to do something else, but that won't work. Water types, they're all water types, so fire is going to be our way of killing them, which I don't... Dang. I was going to do this. But it's not going to get to his turn until the next turn. Okay, while this is all going on, I'll read. They transferred the overtop animations. I think I read that one. So with the 2D and early 3D games, they needed bigger full-body emotes to display the emotions of the scenes. And as they became more realistic... I think I did the wrong thing. I should have done Earth instead of Fire. This could be bad. Fetch! Alright, how do I just quit this? Can I just flee from this battle, just end it? I don't want to fight this anymore. Oh, come on, please! I should have done turn tail. Oh, I don't have skills, though. I really need to rethink how I approach this fight. Fine. We really need to run, because we can't do anything. Finally. Okay, so we need to have anti-seal. I need to bring in another mage. Whoops. And I need to try and get off something that kills... I need to kill the Kalolons first. So let's do... let's do like Jansen and Ming, maybe. Now, does double casting make your cast time slower? Because I'm wondering if I should do double casts or not. Because it might make it so that I can't go quick enough to kill them. Okay, Bryce says, so with the 2D and early 3D games, they needed bigger full-body emotes to display the emotions of the scene, and as they became more realistic, they should have moved into more subtle emotes. That's what I think. That's my personal philosophy on it. As much as I loved FF10, yeah, its cutscene direction is not one of its strengths, just something I've forgiven. Okay, let's cast Ground on these guys. And maybe even... I don't know how this will work. Let's see. Okay, she went first. So maybe if I just cast Grounda and that's it. Okay, but if they attack the Kalolon, it's gonna die. Patch! That sucks! So you gotta kill them, like, immediately. So I guess I should have just gone with Grounda and not double casted. But I still wonder if he's not fast enough. He might not be fast enough. Either way. That'll give me 2 stars, I think. Come on. I don't like that it's automatically put on quit instead of on fight. Okay, let's do this again. Same formation. In fact, I might actually go with Sarah and Ming, because I think they're both faster than Jansen. And Drake, what you're saying about, like, I forget what they call it, because shonen anime is like anime for young boys. They have the whatever else that's made for girls, and then they have the name for it that's made for, like, adults. So yeah, it is made, it's just not nearly as popular as the shonen stuff. Come on. Oh, okay, we'll get them. We'll get them before the other guys do. Did they just seal her? That could be a problem. I forgot that I need to put an anti-seal on my guys. They're both going to go first. Yep, all seal. Okay, that was a mistake. Because I can't use items. But it missed one. Maybe I'll get lucky. Nope, he's going to do it as well. So they went with seal first? See, this is what I don't... Okay, I got lucky again. This is what I don't like. Or maybe she has it equipped, actually, now that I think about it. This is what I don't like about... I've noticed this in this game a little bit. Like, if I had not been going first in the turn order, like if I had Jansen there, there's no way that those guys would have used the all seal spell. They would have used the Windus spell. So it's like they're not selecting their abilities like me before they go. It's like the AI or there's a system in the background that's reacting to whatever I input. And so because I had to input the spells that I did and the game recognized I was going to go first, it decided to change what those guys were going to do in response. And I think that's a little bit annoying. Okay, I'm going to pause this for a second and read what you guys are talking about. Not pause, but stop the recording. I had anti-seal on Ming, I think, because I had replaced anti-seal with anti-paralysis for that other fight I was doing, so now I need to put it back on. Anyways, it is what it is. What are people saying? The story as a whole is FF10's only strength. It was my favorite to restart. I usually fall off after Unalesca. Drake Chance was a lot of the anime oriented towards adults. Okay, I read that one. Bryce is likely due to the growth of popularity of shonen anime in the 90s. Dooming guesses I brought up FF7 Remake to begin with. The dead space in the recording will be all my fault. When the future Mike reviews the footage, he can be mad at me. Okay, I blame you for that. Bryce says he usually casts the spell the next round anyway. I only use Jansen for powerful spell casting anyways. Drake Chandler says seinen and josei are common terms for adult anime. Yeah, seinen, I think that's the one I had heard. Okay, let's get through a couple more of these, then I'll call it for today. So, the next fight is pure gluttony. The secret requirement is let the explosive bugs prey on at least 3 of the little bugs each. What the fetch? I don't even know what that means. So each of the explosive bugs has to prey on 3 little bugs. So I gotta let them do that and then kill them. I think this party is fine. Sure. And we will get a slot seed for this as well. If we beat it the normal way, we get 10 power drinks, which is pretty good reward in and of itself. So I might want to do it twice. Okay, so I need to let the guys in the back prey on 3 of the little dudes. It's 1. That's 1 for him. Is there even enough of them to do 3 each? Because now they'll each have done 2. Oh, another one appears. Okay, that's what I was thinking. It's number 2. It's number 2. Alright, one more round, and then I'll start messing them up. There's number 3. There's number 3. And a few more will appear. Okay. Now, let's do this. What type are they? They are wind types. So we're going to go for the dudes in the back, and we're going to do fire. Volcano ring. And we'll do some of these Flaris spells on the dudes on the back as well. Why don't you double cast? Yeah, do it. Flare. Wait, why does she only have Flare but the other has Flare-us? Oh, I might not have put level 8 black magic on her yet. I might have forgotten to do that. See how this goes. That almost killed him. This will kill him. Yes, I have done all of them except for number 9, which I think is the last one. I collected number 7, but I don't think I've gone back and played it yet. So I have 1 through 8, but I don't think I've played the 7th score yet. Oh, wow. How have you not done any damage to this guy? What the fetch? Okay. Oh, probably because he heals when he does... Okay, that's probably what's going on. You dead. Oh, that was it? You don't have to kill the little dudes. I wonder if I'll get 3 stars for that or not. Because it took 2 turns. I've not done the Pirate Fortress yet. Okay, we didn't get 3. So we have to... Oh, wait, I got... Oh, it gave me both. Oh, fantastic. Okay, that's nice to know. So I did get 3, but then he just gives you both of the things. Okay, let's do 2 more and get through the light, and then I'll continue next time I play this to do the rest of them. 2 eyeballs is defeat 5 white dogs. Defeat 5 white dogs. Okay. Let's do it. A lot of slot seeds you can get for this, which is fantastic. Slot seed is the normal reward for Puppet Master. That's correct. Some of them, the slot seeds are the normal reward, so I'll have to make sure I keep an eye on that. So I need to defeat 5 white dogs, which means I probably shouldn't attack the other things. I think this guy is the one who calls in more of the dogs. So, kill him. Kill him. And you can attack the guy in the back row, who is weak to not magic. So maybe do gamble on the dude in the back. I don't want to... I need to be careful with this, actually. Let's just defend with the other, because I don't want the carryover if they end up killing him on accident in the first cast. To then carry over to killing the guy who kills the, or who calls the dogs. That's 2. Alarm level 2. They'll come back. Did it say 5? I have to kill 5 of them, I think? Probably not prepared for whatever. Oh, fetch. Yeah, that's not good. I need anti-petrify for this fight. Yeah, this could be bad. Why don't you use this on him? Really want to kill that guy, but I don't want to accidentally kill someone else. Oh, I should have used that on the other characters instead of defending with them. Okay, that's 3. This is number 4. Oh, that's so close. Okay, kill him. Use that again on yourself. So close to being dead, dude. Also use them on yourself. And sure, do it again. On him. Just defend. Hopefully he won't petrify us again. Hopefully she'll actually kill it this time. Sarah's the only one. I should have used it with... I should not have defended. That's 4. Here's 5. Finish him off, please. There you go. Oh, dang it! I thought you'd have to kill the... Dang it! It ends there? Well, I mean, what I can do is just put anti-petrify on and then I don't have to worry about anything. That's retarded. Okay. Let's try it again. Does he still have anti-petrify? And instead of this, anti-petrify. I'll just replace this one for now with anti-petrify. This as well. Start using the slot seeds here pretty soon. And then equip an anti-petrify thing on him. There we go. Let's try it again. After I get through, well, maybe I'll record a little more, but I don't think I need to get too much more footage of this for the review's sake, so once I get through light, maybe I'll just record one more that of the heavy class or something, just so that I have footage of that. Alright, you attack that guy, you attack that guy, you defend. One down. Two down. Can't be petrified. Should probably go with her. She's faster than Kaim is. That was number 3. This is number 4. What the fish? Okay, Kaim, you can defend this time. No! Alright, there's... Oh, he didn't die? Why not? Whatever, we'll get it on this turn. Oh, now you're putting shield on everybody, you son of a fetch. I bet he literally had like 1 HP left or something. 190. That's ridiculous. Come on, you stupid morons. Die. Die. Okay, now we kill the dude in the back. What does this do? Yeah, it's not that bad. Alright. We're going after dude in the back. Actually, do your combo. 3 combo on him. Need to put double cast on Ming. Why is everyone going on the next turn? Oh, they do paralysis as well? What the fetch? This is annoying, man. I hope I get it. I hope I don't mess this up. Just kill this. Just kill him, dude. Just kill him. I should not double cast. It's not worth it. Takes too long. See you, Dimmy guy. There. Sweet. Okay, the last one, Puppet Master, is a slot seed for the regular reward. 3-star reward is poisonous red snakes, but we'll get them both if we do it, so. Secret requirement, don't kill the enemies in the front row, only kill the enemies in the back row. If you damage the enemies in the front row, but don't kill them, you'll still get 3 stars. Okay, so we only want to kill the guys in the back. This is pretty easy. Let's do it. Alright, these guys are weak to nothing, right? So we're just going to go with gambles. We'll just have the guys in the front row defend and everyone else will use gamble, the guys in the back row. I don't want you to go multiple times because that takes too long. I wonder what kind of status effects they'll put on us. I never remember what the symbols mean. I think that's... I'm not sure what that is, actually. That's good. It's good. Do it. Finish them off. Good. We win. Alright, so we got our slot seeds and everything. That's going to be it for today. Light class master. Nice. Okay, let me take his, this thing off. Ooh, he's pretty close to finishing it off. Because I want to make sure that, I'm distributing this evenly. So 18, 18, 18, 18, and then 19. And then we'll put that back on him. And now everyone should have more skills available. We can put the anti-seal back on. She actually needs double cast. Oh, she has double cast, never mind. She needs anti-seal to be permanently on her. She's a magic character. She needs to have double cast. There we go. And then next time I get her slot seed, I'll get oh, she already has anti-seal, so she's good. Okay. That's it for now. What kind of skill could she use? I'll think about it later. I don't have time right now. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you for watching. Appreciate the discussion. And tomorrow I'll be back with Final Fantasy VII Remake Demo. And then maybe I'll switch over to this and do some more of this as well. Because it's only like... I can get through the demo in probably about like... if we watch the cutscenes, maybe like 35 minutes. So... Well, with all the discussion I'll be doing, it'll probably be over an hour. Never mind. We'll probably just do FF7 Remake tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll jump into this and do a few more of these battles. I don't know yet. We'll find out what I have time for. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Peace out.